I remember a situation when the client came to me after few successful and few less successful situations related to career life with trying to get advice for the career life when it comes to timing, the choosing the right path, and also the remedy. And today we are talking about the Dasamsa, and all these three aspects are centrally related to this Dasamsa chart. We don't want to again end up disappointing when it comes to losing the time and money and energy, but we want to go, or we want to develop those paths which will give us a real, not only the external reflection of our efforts, but also the internal satisfaction. So when I opened the Dasamsa chart, I immediately had the handful of clues. Where should I look? So this I want to share with you in this video, so you also will be able to approach the Dasamsa in the proper way. So we were going through some jobs. As you know, the software developer will be something like Mercury and Ketu. For example, if you're going to nurse, which is very, very popular job, is the Venus. Teacher is the Jupiter. Accountant is a Mercury. Going into that medical profession, the Mercury Moon, at least for the general thing. Then we have a marketing manager and sales representative. That would be the Venus. Sun for human resources and all that parts which are related to giving the jobs. Customer services, usually Saturn and Jupiter, that involves a lot of consultation. And the project manager would be the Venus. So these are most popular lines. And if these planets are touching the important points, then these lines will prove fruitful long term. Sometimes the bad dasha can give us impression that no, this line was bad, but it's not the problem of the line, but the dasha is just wrong. So when the dasha will end, the proper line will again be supported. So therefore we need to take into account all those different factors. To avoid getting lost, we need to always keep in mind the hierarchy between the Rasi, Navamsa and the Dasamsa. And often when people are lost in analysis of the job, it is related to lack of the clear understanding of the framework of each of these charts to be able to understand what part of the whole picture they are showing. For example, like in this chart, the whole issue in the work was related to the boss. What happens when the ninth house of boss is empty, right? Then we already know, we discussed that in the Navamsa chart, which you can also see. Then we are taking the Lord, and we will get information about the dynamics from that specific Lord. Or sometimes the situation will be that the person was working for some time in a job which is not related to the 2nd, 6th, and 10th in the Dasamsa. So we know that these are the main things to be checked when it comes to the employment. For contract jobs, we see 9th. For the business, we see the 7th Lord. But then we need to understand that the Rasi Drishti, the sign aspects, can also show a situation, especially if these jobs were short-term. The Rasi Drishti on those houses will also qualify. The Rasi Drishti we use to see when that specific opportunity is ready, and the Graha Drishti will be very important for timing because that will activate our desire. Of course, I checked first the Rasi and Navamsa to be able to understand which lines will prove the best for the native, because the Rasi and Navamsa is ultimately showing the person. And then we can analyze and we can dwell into the Dasamsa to understand how this blessing will be presented in that specific work environment. So by analyzing this chart, we can answer questions like, will the person will be doing business or contract job, or will be employed? What is the best for the native? And also, what are the preferences? What the person will ultimately choose to do. Also, we can see things like the relationship with the boss, relationship with the workers, relationship with the colleagues. What is the whole dynamic with the secretary, with people who are in charge? Without the Dasamsa, we cannot understand the office thing going on in our lives. And I will save you from the calculation from the house meaning, because that was already discussed on my channel also, and also in the other channels. Basically, when it comes to the Dasamsa, it's quite easy. We are just taking the general understanding of the houses and we are restricting it to the career life. So for example, the 4th house is place. So place in career life is the office. So therefore 4th house in the Dasamsa will show office. It's quite easy. It's not very complicated. We need to consider always the Rasi chart with the Dasamsa, because otherwise we don't know what the person is doing in the office, and also what is the impact of the things happening in the office on the person, right? We got the rain, so we need to move. That's not very nice situation, because it's a lot of preparation and changing. analyze the Navamsa and the Dasamsa together. Especially the Navamsa will show that qualitative thing, and the Dasamsa will show all of the jobs and all of the experience, all of the surroundings. The Rasi and Navamsa needs to be analyzed first to understand which jobs are standing out, and then in the Dasamsa we can get the exact format of what's going on. And recently I was watching another astrologer channel, and he said that ultimately the whole prediction will be based on the Rasi. So there is no need to complicate. We need to simplify astrology, and the whole answer is in the Rasi chart. This is interesting because my approach to this is completely opposite. And we see that by taking two people with the same Rasi chart. When you will do readings for a long time, definitely you will come across a situation when two people will have the same chart. Or sometimes even you can find a person who will have same chart as some celebrity. So now the difference will be in the Vargas. Like, for example, you can take the serial killer's chart, and there will be no extremity seen in the Rasi chart. There will be, of course, some indications in the Rasi chart, but to get the level of the evil, this needs to be seen in the Varga charts. And that is the whole concept of the Nadi astrology, that we are sure that the whole Vargas are covered, and only then we get the full picture. Finally, because of that strained relationship with the boss, the input we get from the client, we could identify the curse in the Rasi chart, then we could take this to the Dasamsa, see that whole dynamic, how it's going on, and then divide these plans for the good and the bad guys, and use the timing, the remedies, and the strategy based on this division. The Prashna or the yearly chart is also used in the same manner, how to maneuver through such challenging situations. Sometimes we get a good intuition what we should do, but with the Jyotish, with the Vedic astrology, we get that extra push to implement the change. So as you can see, when we have the correct Dasamsa chart and we have finally identified which plans are doing good for us, sometimes this can be a various scenarios for one house, because you have the whole yoga formation, you have the drishti, you have the aspect, and you have even the houses from particular house in question. So then we have some choice, and based on the dasha and based on the general choices we have in life, we can advise accordingly. So in the Rasi chart, we got the main protagonist, the main dynamic, and then in each Varga, this will be seen in a bit different manner. Therefore, the same Rasi chart can give us completely different situation. Just like you have seen the 12 house dasha can give either foreign travel or marriage, depending what is activated in the either Navamsa or the Chaturtamsa. Therefore, we got this division to get more clarity. You can get crazy situation using these karmic channels of karma. For example, there could be examples when, for example, you need to take care of your clients or of your partners. The 7th house in the Dasamsa may show the remedy for the boss, because it were somehow connected. And something which is seemingly not very visible, or something which is not very intuitive, something you would not get at the first hand, even if you know the whole situation in the work or other environment. For we have the Jyotisha to discover those crazy connections. And of course, we have this metaphysical remedies, which are mainly the mantra, and for this we have the Rasi chart. We can use something based on the Dasamsa, but to get into the root, the main curse will be there. If you have very serious things related to the career life, which are confirmed by Rasi, Navamsa, and Dasamsa, the divisional chart say yes, then still we can go to the Rasi chart to get access to the powers, metaphysical powers, personal metaphysical powers in form of devatas, and accessing those devatas through this metaphysical sounds of mantras, we can somehow manipulate the karma. That is the only way, through this sound. So the question would be how we finally arrive at the conclusion to choose what would be the best jobs. And unfortunately, that is not easy, because it's like science. Science is taking into consideration many factors, many layers. And of course, we can talk about the general archetypes, that, for example, the Mercury is accounting and so on. To be able to arrive at the final conclusion, we need to take into consideration something which is like recipe. Recipe has some ingredients. Therefore, on each level, you need to have some yoga there to be able to arrive at the final conclusion. And also, therefore, we have this Rasi, the Navamsa, and the Dasamsa. So that would be the best strategy to arrive at the proper answer. For example, if you are working as, let's say, a focus puller on the movie set, then Aruda Lagna may be related to Venus or Mercury because you are working with the entertainment. But in the Dasamsa, it could be Mars because it's quite technical ability to have for this particular job. Therefore, this could be many combinations and permutation to be exposed that this recipe thing is really working. Let's see, for example, the chart of Steve Jobs. So here we could see that if the Aruda Lagna is in Scorpio, we have connection to Mars, which can say that this person is working within the technological sectors. We have fourth from Sun, which is showing the wealth. So the big wealth is coming from that Taurus loaded by Moon and Venus. This Yoga Moon and Venus is showing the CAO. Especially this is the 10th house, so very strong connection. 10th from Moon, we have a beautiful Venus in the Jupiterian sign, and the lord of that Jupiter is in the 11th. So fifth lord in 11 is both Dana and Jnana Yoga. By the way, Jupiter with Ketu is next yoga to get the ability and wealth for small machines. So the iPhones, iPads, all that is visible in Bill Gates and Steve Jobs charts. And in the Navamsa, we have again this Venus Ketu exalted, which is showing the person who is perfectionist. Definitely this would resonate with the Steve Jobs. And in the D10, if we add 4 minutes, we are changing the Lagna to Gemini, and then we have that 10th Lord Venus in Digbala in the 4th house. And this is again with Ketu and debilitated, which is showing a very high success. And Moon in the 10th house, we have Jupiter for teaching, and with the Moon, this is the nerdy part of Steve Jobs, with Rahu is showing someone who is like a trendsetter, groundbreaking research and the new technologies, completely new approach. So this innovation is coming from the Jupiter and Rahu. So you can see how various things are adding to this one category because we are categorizing the world, but these categories are based on some few ingredients. Therefore, the word recipe, which is quite fitting for the situation. Okay, guys, so that's it for today. I hope you find this interesting and informative. If you do, please don't forget to hit that thumbs up, subscribe, because we'll be also having maybe part 2, so you don't want to miss that. Join our Discord community. And for one-on-one consultation, if you'd like to analyze your chart, Rasi, Navamsa, Dasamsa with the yogas, remedies, and the Vargas, then you can hit me up with this email here. We were talking about Dasamsa, but if you would like to know more about how to analyze the Navamsa chart, then please consider watching this one.